Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Little mishap with my hair. Thankfully I'm getting a haircut right after Labor Day. But this video I'm going to give my predictions for All Elite Wrestling's upcoming pay-per-view tomorrow. All Out, which, I don't get confused. I'm making sure today is Friday, so I'm just Xing off my calendar here. There we go. So now I got that out of my way. All Out will be in Jacksonville, Florida tomorrow at Dali's place. So before I get into that, I'm going to just give my quick thoughts on what's going on with the potential collapse of my hockey team, the New York Islanders, because it seems we cannot close out a series to save our livelihood, okay? I am just completely distraught and devastated. So, we lose another overtime game to the Philadelphia Flyers. This is what makes this a complete joke. First of all, I noticed that these announcers on NBCSN, and maybe you don't realize it, but I certainly notice it. Well, I recognize it. I could tell these announcers are rooting for Philadelphia because they must be from NBCSN Philly. They have to be, because I notice when Philadelphia wins an OT or when Philadelphia does score, it seems they're happy that Philadelphia is winning. They're glad the Flyers are winning. So, I will mention that we were up 3-1 heading into Game 5 back on Tuesday. We lost on Tuesday to Philadelphia 4-3 in overtime. So I'll go to yesterday's game on the 3rd. So here's what happened. So Philadelphia got the first 3 goals of the game. It was scored by Kevin Hames, James Van Riemsdyk, and Michael Raffi. And it was 3-1. No, my bad. It was 2-1. Excuse me. It was 2-1. Brassard scored late in the first. So that made it 2-1 at the end of the first. Then you had the Islanders score 3 consecutive goals. You had goals from Matt Martin, Anders Lee, and Matt Barzal. And then Raffi scored. And Raffi was... right, we were up 3-1. Then Philly made it 3-2. And then Scott Lawton tied it in the third. And then we went to double OT. And Ian Provorov scored the OT winner. Now, I'm looking at the Game 2 stats here. I'll look this up. Philip Myers scored the other goal for Philadelphia. So, now I'm completely devastated that tomorrow we have a Game 7 on NBC. And we're going to be following the Kentucky Derby on Labor Day weekend. I am really hoping for a miracle the Islanders close this out. They should have closed this out on Tuesday. They should have at least closed this out on Tuesday. No. Or at least last night. They couldn't. They may blow a 3-1 lead to Philadelphia. That's how much of a joke this is. And I'm sure a lot of people may not watch the game, but I'm watching because... I'm hoping for a miracle. So, Game 7 is tomorrow night, and hopefully I will have a reaction video to that and just discuss the potential, hopefully miracle the Islanders win in 7 or they fall to Philadelphia, which I hope not. Okay. Now for everybody expecting my AEW All Out predictions, let's get into it. Huge All Elite Wrestling pay-per-view coming up. We have 9 matches on the card. It will be on Bleacher Report Live. So, $50, but who's really going to pay $50? But I will get into the card because it is pretty exciting. Very, very exciting. Okay. So I figured I'm going to get the hard match out of the way. The hardest one, I think, is the 21-man Casino Battle Royal. The winner will receive a future AEW World Title match down the line. So you have Darby Allin, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Pentagon Jr., Ray Finks, The Butcher, The Blade, Eddie Kingston, Shawn Spears, Billy and Austin Gunn, Jack Hager, Santana and Ortiz, Chuck Taylor, Trent versus to be determined. So, you got a lot of people who think Darby Allin potentially is going to face Jon Moxley down the line. Just to give my honest opinion, I think this is going to be the final few men heading into the end of the match. It's going to be Darby, Lance, Bryan, and Ricky. Now, the thing with Lance, Bryan, and Ricky, they are technically managed by Taz. Where have we seen this before? I'm not even going to get into old school wrestling. Jack Hager. He could be one of the last few men in this match. And then you have Santana and Ortiz. So, this will be interesting to see Jack Hager. Okay? This is what makes Jack Hager and Santana and Ortiz interesting. So, pretty much, we all know the Inner Circle could be the last few men in this match. And, you know, Jericho does have a match later on in the evening we'll get into. But I just want to think that Darby Allin is winning. He keeps cutting these promos. There was one promo, I think 2 weeks ago, where Darby was jumping off a cliff. So if Darby Allin is going to be a daredevil, we love the whole skateboard stunt. And he did have an epic match with Jon Moxley a couple weeks ago. You know, Darby Allin should win this match. You know, I would be very surprised if he didn't. So, the winner of the 21-man Casino Battle Royale will be Darby Allin. Next tag team match we'll get into. Multiple men matches I'm predicting first, so that way I don't get confused here. The Dark Order. Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson taking on newly acquired Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, The Natural Nightmares, Dustin Rhodes, and QT Marshall. So, this is interesting. You are going to have the TNT champion featured. The new TNT champion who pretty much destroyed Cody Rhodes a couple weeks back. The Dark Order wins because they want to keep the feud going with Cody, I think. This is good storytelling right here. So if Dark Order wins, there's a chance you might see Cody Rhodes try to get a little bit of an impact. Because we've seen surprises during AEW pay-per-views before. So why not bring Cody Rhodes back? Maybe he's not severely injured and then just portraying it that way. So, Dark Order wins. This is an easy match to predict. Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus taking on the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson. I'm just going to say Jurassic Express wins. Jungle Boy has really grown on me. Jungle Boy has really grown on me as an individual competitor. Down the line, I could see Jurassic Express getting a tag team championship opportunity. So give the Jurassic Express a win here, because that would be very positive for them. Okay, so I think what we're going to do now is go to the women's division, because I'm very excited about these matches, and I think a lot of things are going to happen here. Britt Baker returning to the ring for the first time in months after her injury, taking on Big Swole. Now, I will mention something interesting about Big Swole and Britt Baker. So Big Swole is actually married to Cedric Alexander in WWE, and Britt Baker is actually in a long-term relationship with Adam Cole. Yeah. WWE meets AEW. How funny is that? Okay, So, I'm going to give Big Swole the win here because they are doing a good job making Britt Baker a heel. And I will say, it's a good way to turn her into that right now with the whole injury storyline thing. But it's a buy-in match, pretty much. This is just a buy-in match. So, it's an old gimmick they used to use in WWE back in the day when, you would watch a match and then they would convince you to buy the pay-per-view. This is what AEW is doing, I guess. So, Big Swole wins. That would be very funny to see. Okay. Current AEW champion Hirako Shida taking on NWA Women's Champion Thunder Rosa. And I think we are going to have Thunder Rosa as champion. Because imagine Thunder Rosa holding both the NWA and AEW Women's Championships at the same time. Hirako Shida is a good competitor. Don't get me wrong. But Thunder Rosa is going to win. I mean, this is her time. So Thunder Rosa becomes your new AEW Women's Champion. I got one more tag team match I got to predict. Kenny Omega and Adam Page taking on FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. FTR is playing mind games with Omega and Page. This could be the end of their tag team run. And it's time to pull the trigger on it now, so I'm going to say it. We're going to have new tag team champions. It'll be interesting to see what FTR does down the line. Because, I am hoping that this does lead to a Jurassic Express opportunity down the line, hopefully. I'm hoping. So, FTR becomes your new tag team champions, and Kenny Omega and Adam Page get into a one-on-one feud. There you go. So a lot of interesting stuff can happen on Dynamite going down the line. Okay, a Broken Rules match. A rematch of what happened last week. Matt Hardy taking on Sammy Guevara. If Hardy loses, he must leave All Elite Wrestling. I'm sorry, but I do not want Matt Hardy to lose. I want him to delete Sammy Guevara. So, Matt Hardy wins. Broken Rules match. Pretty much, it's no holds barred. You can do whatever you want. Steel chair, tables, blood. There was blood last week, so might as well have more blood this week. Okay, Matt Hardy wins. Moving on to the good matches of the night. Ooh, this is where it gets good. Chris Jericho, hopefully ending his feud with Orange Cassidy in a Mimosa Mayhem match. Pretty much what will happen is the match can only be won via pinfall, submission, or throwing the opponent into a tank of orange juice and champagne, aka the mimosa. Chris Jericho is a genius. I gotta say, he is a genius. But they do want to give Orange Cassidy more momentum down the line to be the top guy in AEW, don't they? I mean, I'm loving this whole silent character thing because, sure, Chris Jericho tried sending a message to Orange Cassidy in a singles match on the past episode of AEW Dynamite, but now you have to think that they want Orange Cassidy to just finish it off with Chris Jericho. I know the Chris Jericho character has been buried a lot this year, but It seemed last year Chris Jericho was on top of the world, right? Didn't it seem that way last year? My, how things have been different since Dynamite started last year. Didn't it? I mean, just think that Chris Jericho forms the Inner Circle, and now the Inner Circle may be in a free fall. And how things have changed in AEW. So, Orange Cassidy wins, and I'm calling it right now. Chris Jericho will be in the mimosa. And it will be funny to see his jacket or his body soaked in mimosa. It would be funny. I will say that. Okay. Last but not least, our main event of the evening. We have 9-month champion. Hopefully he makes it to 9 months. Jon Moxley defending his championship against Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Yep. MJF. The 24-year-old hopeful up-and-coming professional wrestler. Now, interesting enough, Kurt Hawkins actually trains him. Interesting enough, MJF is from Plainview, Long Island. And he actually did well in the Indies. He was a former Combat Zone Wrestling World Champion. So MJF does have experience in independent wrestling. But down the line, I think they're going to keep the feud going maybe. MJF claims that he's going to be champion for 25 years. Good luck with that. Because Bruno Sammartino wasn't champion for that long. But in all reality, I do think MJF is going to be AEW champion down the line. I just don't think it's going to be this match. Maybe by the end of the year, maybe the early part of 2021. Because looking at the MJF character, yeah, they're portraying him to be this heel political figure. And a good way to promote the match is by faking that you have an injury because Moxley used the paradigm shift. Okay, I get that, MJF wanted the move banned, but look at it this way. Moxley has a new submission. I think he's going to use it. Because I'm looking at it this way. And this is what I saw against Brian Cage last month. This was July. Yeah, July. Back in July, Jon Moxley was able to submit Brian Cage. So, if you're able to submit Brian Cage, who is 6 feet tall, and Moxley is only, I'm trying to pull up Moxley's height. Moxley is 6'4". I don't know. I mean, Moxley has a new submission. If Moxley doesn't use it on MJF, then something is just completely wrong. Because, again, I think MJF is the future of professional wrestling. He is the future of this business. But it may not be this time, and I will be honest. I just don't think he wins this time. He probably wins because they want what? Moxley and MJF to face each other 3 times? Do I feel any pity for MJF right now? No. But I think he's going to be champion. Just not this time. He will eventually be champion. But if he wins, it proves me wrong, because I think Moxley can win. I think Moxley could win this match. There's a chance that Moxley still gets the job done. there is still a chance that MJF could win. But I don't think it's going to be 25 years. If I were to give MJF a fair advantage to be champion for a while, and this could happen, I think he could be champion for at least a year. At least a year. Because then MJF can prove to his haters that he is someone that's going to be around for a while. You know, we don't have people around my age who are these mid-20-something-year-olds who can be dominant in professional wrestling. We don't have that right now. We don't. I can understand MJF as a villain. And I can respect the persona and the character that he presents. And when he's champion, and it will happen. I think it will happen. Just not this match. But it will happen down the line. It will happen. And MJF doesn't need to be a hero to prove that he's the best. No. If MJF can keep this heel line going, and definitely he will, you're going to see probably the best dominant run for a young champion since Randy Orton. I'm calling it as I see it. That's how I think it could happen. Because remember, Orton was 23 when he won his first title. That's a big deal. That you're 23 years old and you win your first championship in professional wrestling. That rarely happens. So if MJF is able to do that, he's in a rare spot in professional wrestling that hasn't been done since Randy Orton. And I know I'm bringing up a WWE reference, but still, to have a good reason to watch Dynamite on Wednesday nights, to see a young 24 going on 25 champion, because MJF's birthday is in March. Imagine if MJF makes it to March, going into his 25th birthday, and he's still champion. It could happen. And I will mention one last thing before I wrap this up. MJF is such a big deal here in New York. Because remember, as I said, he's from Plainview. He's from Long Island. He even had a full-page Newsday article written about him. So, Moxley, MJF have a good match. I just think Moxley wins. But I think down the line, they are going to give the belt to MJF. Hopefully, on an episode of Dynamite, it could happen. I could logically see it happen because maybe after this pay-per-view, MJF is going to cut an epic promo, and Khan probably believes that pulling the trigger again would help the ratings. So, yeah. That's going to wrap it up. I know I wanted to go in-depth on MJF because I've been planning on doing this for a while since I've started to watch the AEW shows when they went to Dali's place full time when the pandemic started. And again, these shows have been very enjoyable. They've been better since the pandemic started. I will say they're doing a better job in a sense than WWE. The only thing WWE has going right now, and I will say, is Raw. That's it, because that's the only show I seem to be enjoying lately in WWE. SmackDown is okay. NXT, it's like, what is NXT really doing these days? I don't see any consistency in NXT lately. Because now you got what? An injured champion. You had Karrion Kross vacate the title, and now you have another Super Tuesday episode. It's going to be pre-taped. I'm not a gullible wrestling fan. I know what's going on here. I'd rather watch AEW. So, with that, thank you all for watching. I will mention there were a few select people from the public who were invited to Dali's Place tomorrow. So if you are going to be there tomorrow to watch in person, just remember, wear a mask, because Dali's Place has a strict protocol where you have to wear a mask at all times in the building. So if you are going tomorrow, enjoy the show in Jacksonville. If you are shelling out the $50, enjoy the show, because I'm probably going to have to watch highlights online if they even put it online, and I'll just be sitting tomorrow night praying that my Islanders make it to the Eastern Finals tomorrow, because I will be antsy about that. So I'll be back later this month for my predictions for the next WWE pay-per-view taking place on the 27th, which will be Clash of Champions. So until the next one, please take care.